Japan opened up in late October 2022. I spent Christmas in Tokyo with friends, and in this video I will share how much I feel Tokyo has opened up for tourists. I used to fly into Tokyo frequently because my ex-wife was a flight stewardess and Tokyo LA was one of her regular routes. I would fly into Tokyo with her and wait for her to come back from Los Angeles. Sometimes we would land or take off from either Haneda or Narita. Depending on the time that you arrive, Tokyo Airport can be quite slow to check out from these days because they just opened up. I expect this to get better as the months and weeks progress. I got out of Narita Airport this time and it took me 2.5 hours to check out. This is quite unusual. I could tell that they were not as prepared as most other cities would have been if they opened up earlier. Bearing in mind that Tokyo, Japan, only started to open up for tourists in October 2022. I missed the online COVID vaccination declaration process. I wasn't aware, so that added 30 minutes to my checkout time. Go to the Visit Japan website. I'll show you what that looks like. Create a QR code which recognizes that you have finished the declaration process of your vaccination status. As of 8 January 2023, your wait time could be affected by additional pressure from tourists coming in from China. So what was the experience like for me? As a dude, my objectives for visiting Japan are food, technology, especially optical technology, and robots based on anime. So I will share my experience traveling to Tokyo, this time after almost 3 years of a lockdown, and go through 3 sections: food, optical technology, robots from anime. Starting with food, this time I deliberately stayed 2 stations away from Seoul Fish Market, which I visited 3 times out of the 4 days that I was there in Tokyo. I stayed in the Hilton at the Shinjuku with my ex-wife because she's a flight stewardess and we get the room for free. All the way to barely bearable budget business hotels when I come to Tokyo by myself, and all the different kinds of hotels in between. And I think we can all agree that Tokyo is one of the more expensive places to get a hotel, and for whatever price that you pay, you tend to get a pretty small room. I was very lucky this time with the Keio Presso Inn at Kaya Bucho. It was right smack on the Hibiya line and the train station was no distance at all from my hotel. I got a pretty good sized room for the price that I paid. So how much did I pay? I paid, wait, hang on a second, let me convert that to US dollars. And then of course Christmas kicked in and then dynamic prices started to drive the prices up. Beyond seafood, I also had ramen and udon, which I love. I make soba myself a lot at home for breakfast, so I skipped the soba because I didn't have a lot of time. I even managed 1 full day of vegan meals with my friends and still managed to get my fix of all the different kinds of food that I wanted to eat. Optical technology. How are the shops doing now, just after recovery? I can say that shopping has been restored and you can get the stuff that you want to get. Shops are open for tourists. The tax rebate system is completely set up for tourists. I'm seeing new stuff as well as new old stuff, such as an Aiwa cassette tape player. I would have bought it in another time, but I think the era of cassette tapes is firstly well and truly over, and number 2, the economy is not doing so great, and I didn't want to waste the money getting something that I didn't need. Robots. I'm not a Gundam guy. I'm much more of a Macross fella. Usually I would have to hunt for bits and bobs of what remained of Macross Robot Mech, but this time I came around a shop in Akihabara and realized they were properly remaking all the Macross series robots and selling them for very reasonable prices. That said, once again, I felt like the economy wasn't doing so great, and like a very old millennial, I lean more towards experiences than the ownership of possessions. I really wanted a Macross Regal, but instead of spending 7,500 yen, I decided to spend $25 on the model kit instead, saving myself from this ritual but gaining the experience and pleasure of the assembly process while saving a ton of cash. Shibuya, Akihabara, Shinjuku, Omotesando, Shimbashi, all these places, they all feel quite normal now, with the exception that it's a little bit less crowded, which is a very good thing. But I think all that's going to change in the first quarter of 2023. So I'm quite glad and grateful that I traveled there when I did in December 2022. It makes sense to stop by Tokyo on your way back if you're traveling to Seoul and vice versa, because these two cities are only an hour and a half away from each other. I highly recommend this consideration if you're heading out to this part of the world, if your airline booking agent gives you a good price like mine did. Thank you so much for watching.